How I got into horse racing is my whole family does it. My grandpa trained race horses. He was one of the top yearling trainers. And my uncles, Wayne and Trevor, both train horses. My uncle Trevor is a top driver in Canada. My dad trained race horses. My brother trains race horses and drives race horses. I got my license a month before my birthday. And so August, I went to the drivers' championship for young drivers. And it was up in Montreal. So I had to drive all the way 5 hours all the way up to Montreal. I only had like 4 drives before that. I was just a driver, so I didn't train the horses. I just showed up. I had 5 drives, and I'm like crazy. So like I went online and I checked my odds, and I was like, every horse I was driving was like pretty bad odds, like no shot of winning. And I went in there and I win 3 out of my 5 races, and I won the drivers tournament, and I was pretty pumped. And that was pretty exciting because you got 5 drives out of a night, and they're for legit trainers, and I've won 3 of them, and it was pretty good. Made a decent amount of money. I made like $1,000 just going up there, so I was pretty pumped. I was having a really good year, and I went up to Florida to drive, and I was had a big head, and I thought like if I went up there, I'd get a ton of drives because I was getting good drives down here. And I went up there and I didn't realize that there's like legends that go up to Florida and race. So like all these guys that have won all these big races are just they just vacation up there and they just drive at the track. And so I'm up there with guys that have, have like multi-million-dollar records and stuff like that. So I was kind of annoyed, and I went up there and I didn't do that great. And then I came back here, and once you leave and you come back, everyone kind of forgets your name, and I'd only get a few drives. So it was more of a grind. And I was driving hours to go race 2 horses that were going to finish probably dead last, and that's why I got out of it. It just wasn't worth it anymore, and it wasn't fun. But like I do miss it. I train horses now, and if I raced my own horses, I'd probably have fun. But the thing is, you go to the race and you got to do everything, and I don't have the time to like drive the horse and then get the horse ready and bath the horse and be in my colors and sweat. And it's not worth the hassle. And my brother's a leading driver, so I just give him the drives, and it benefits us both. Like he looks good and I look good. So my boss has a breeding farm, and he just buys horses, and then more or less I have 2 horses. I own 1, and I train 1 for him. So I tried to get out of it, but it seems like it just keeps coming back. So it starts like the beginning of the week. So if I'm racing on Friday, I have to enter the horse for Tuesday. The draw comes out Tuesday night, so you find out what time you're racing, what post position you have, what race you're in, what other horses you're in against. If your horse needs it, you have to call the vet because everything has dates where you can't use it. So you have to administer certain drugs on certain days and make sure everything's right so you're not cheating the system. And then you're jogging. You probably train the horse, kind of get him ready to race for Wednesday, give him the Thursday off, and then kind of get him ready to race on Friday, and you get all the equipment ready and you go to the race, and you either win or you lose.
So when the horse races don't go well and Cody loses, like when anyone loses, they're not very happy. He is very competitive, so he does work hard to train those horses every day. When you don't do so well, he's not very happy. I think, he probably gets down on himself and thinks it's his fault. Obviously, the horse, they're like anyone, any human being or animal. We all have our days. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. He's not very happy about it. He's not scary to talk to, which is good. You can talk to him about it and say, hey, like what happened or what do you think happened? And he'll explain like what he thinks went on. But yeah, it's never fun when anyone loses.
Because we have a yearling farm, so my boss, if he doesn't sell one or it's too small or if it has like an issue with it and it can't get sold at the race, we keep it, and then he just gives it to me to train. Like if we have to give it like a couple months off, I just train it. So I have one in training right now, and then I have 2 race horses. I bought one, and then we have the gray that I raced that's having issues. But my boss just gave it to me to train because he wants to because we paid $12,000 for it. He's just gonna breed it. So that's the only reason we bought it, was just to be bred. And he just wants to get his money back, so he gave him to me for a few starts to see if I could do good, because nobody else has. She has genetic issues, like she ties up, which means her muscles get really sore before the race, and she doesn't perform. And she's a really aggressive horse too, so she chokes herself down. So my brother's fighting with her the whole time in the 2-hole, and he thinks he's shutting her air off, which means their palate and their throat flips and shuts their air off. He's sitting there just fighting with her, and she just wants to blow her load in the first lap. But I don't understand, like her first race, she was so good. She raced really well. That's the issue with horse racing. It's you do everything the exact same the next week, and you don't get the same results, and then you don't know what to do. It's the most annoying thing. But then when you get one figured out, and just like you crack the code, and you go into the races with a big head, and you're just like walking tall. But then when you have one like that, you're the smallest person in the paddock. Like it's just embarrassing. Like the highest to highs and lowest to lows, and I don't like losing, so it's. I always go ready to rock, and sometimes they don't perform, and then you're just embarrassed, and it sucks. I feel like that. I sound like that.